You know, when I was a kid, there was a station across the river, WQLT, and WLAY similarly in the 1970s. My dad was from Cherokee, Alabama, so we would come through, and we're from over in Lauderdale County, Center Star area. We would come through here, Muscle Shoals, Sheffield, to go to Cherokee, and I would always see the sign out front and intrigued by the WLAY sign, you know.
It was started in 1933, and the first call letters were WNRA for the National Recovery Act. That's when the station came on the air. It was during the 30s, during the National Recovery Act. So it had been on quite a while before my dad joined hands with a guy named John Slatton. So, you know, it had been on there 30 years. My dad was Mitch Self, and he moved here from Oxford, Mississippi in 1961 to be the general sales manager. You know, we started working here in 1971, and I was the sanitation engineer along with my brother Kevin. So we worked together for, you know, 50-something years.
84 is where I started, what you asked, and what got me into radio. Got an opportunity to work at WLX in Lexington. And my first day, what happened, I went in there and the guy said, well, Mark, you've got a good voice, and our afternoon guy quit this morning. He called in, he's gone. So he said, can I teach you how to cue the records? Of course, we had the turntables and cart machines. And I said, yeah. I was so nervous that first day. He left me alone. He taught me how to trained me in radio, and left me alone for the afternoon shift. And that whole afternoon, I was shaky. I remember just being very nervous when I, read the weather, today's weather, And WLAY, that was Motley Crue. A little Def Leppard in there too. And we got Pancake Day coming up. It's a whole 2 weeks of Pancake Day, and I'm going to be there eating every day. Yeah, it looks like, oh my goodness, we've got Eddie Raven and 80s music from Sylvia next on WLAY.
It was awesome. Rick Hall and my dad were real good friends, and Rick knew he had a friend in radio, so that's why we got to play the songs first. You couldn't do that in major markets. In LAY had the best equipment in the day, so Rick would bring the cuts up here to play and sit out in his orange Cadillac and listen to the songs, some of them twice, and the one that sounded best, he'd release it. He couldn't have done that anywhere else except Muscle Shoals. So a very good relationship with the Halls, and we still have that. And we still, to this day, play most of the music that comes out of the shows first. We're big on helping musicians and artists get their music out. So we're very involved in the music community and other parts of the community as well.
One big thing is we are a local radio station. We're locally owned and we're in the community. And I think maybe, just some of the things in the community that we do that some people may not even know about. But just getting to be locally owned and getting to help so many different local people is really amazing. And also, getting to play some of the local artists even too with our different stations. Sometimes there's not ways to get that local aspect. Like I said, if you want to know something nationally, there's a million different places, but locally we're probably, there's others around, but there's not many places to get some of that local content. I actually went to, a restaurant here just, a month ago, and a guy stopped me and said, hey, are you the guy that does the radio? And I said, yeah. He goes, well, you were talking about my nephew on the radio the other day, and I enjoyed it. So it's just little things like that, and you never know with radio who's listening. With our radio, we also can stream all of our stuff as well. So we've got an app, and then also you can stream it online. And we've had several people over the years, especially with high school football, we've had people on military bases. We've had people working, out of town. We've had some on some oil, rigs and stuff like that have messaged us like, we are so appreciative of you doing this.
radio's local, and when there's still time after time, people want to be connected to their local community. It's an interesting business, it always has been, and a friend of mine that I worked with for years, and one of my mentors always said to me, he said, Rob, as long as this stays interesting, and he says, as long as, you know, I'm excited about getting up and coming to work every day, he said, you know, I'm going to stay in the business. And he always closed with this. He said, so basically, if it ever stops being fun, you know, I'll get out.
Thank you for watching this documentary. Tune in to WLAY 100.1 FM, Country's Greatest Hits.